When racism and bullying collide with unexpected strength, the Johnson twins discover that true power lies not in fighting back, but in rising above and teaching their tormentors a lesson they'll never forget. The story begins in a bustling suburban neighborhood where diversity is celebrated, but tensions simmer beneath the surface. The Johnson twins, Jada and Jordan, are two African-American teenagers who have recently moved to this tight-knit community with their parents. Both siblings are intelligent, charismatic, and excel academically at their new high school. However, they quickly become targets of subtle racism from some students who feel threatened by their presence. Jada and Jordan try to brush off the occasional snide comments or exclusionary behavior as growing pains of adjusting to a new environment. But things escalate when a group of bullies, led by an arrogant classmate named Kyle, begins targeting them more aggressively. Kyle's gang spreads rumors about the twins online, vandalizes their lockers, and even mocks them during lunch periods for being different. What these bullies don't know is that Jada and Jordan aren't just your average teens. They've been training in martial arts since they were 6 years old under the guidance of their grandfather, a retired karate master. One day after school, Jada and Jordan walk home together, discussing how they can handle the situation without escalating it further. They believe in resolving conflicts peacefully and hope the bullying will subside on its own. As they pass through a quiet park near their house, they hear footsteps behind them. Turning around, they see Kyle and his crew approaching menacingly. Kyle sneers at them, hurling racial slurs and making derogatory remarks about their family. He accuses them of thinking they're better than everyone else because of their grades and popularity among teachers. His friends laugh nervously, egging him on. Despite feeling anger bubbling inside them, Jada and Jordan remain calm. They exchange a glance, silently agreeing to de-escalate the situation if possible. Jordan steps forward, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "Look, we don't want any trouble," he says firmly but calmly. "Why are you doing this? We've never done anything to you." Kyle smirks, clearly unimpressed. "Oh, come on," he taunts. "You think acting all nice makes you special? Let's see what you're really made of." The tension in the air was palpable as Kyle and his gang closed in on Jada and Jordan. The once quiet park now felt suffocating, with every rustle of leaves amplifying the unease between them. Jada's heart raced, but she maintained her composure, her years of martial arts training kicking into high gear. She knew better than to let fear dictate her actions. Instead, she focused on reading Kyle's body language, anticipating his next move. Jordan stood beside her, equally alert, his muscles tense yet controlled. They had trained for moments like this, not out of a desire to fight, but to defend themselves if necessary. Kyle's sneer widened as he took another step forward, emboldened by the silence from the twins. "What are you gonna do?" he taunted, his voice dripping with mockery. "Call your mommy." His friends chuckled nervously behind him, though some looked hesitant, sensing that something wasn't quite right. Jada locked eyes with Kyle, her gaze unwavering. In that moment, she saw through his bravado, the insecurity, the need to assert dominance over others to mask his own weaknesses. But there was no time for sympathy or pity. This wasn't about understanding him. It was about protecting herself and her brother. Without warning, Kyle lunged at Jordan, aiming a clumsy punch straight for his face. It was clear he hadn't thought this through. His movements lacked precision or skill, driven purely by anger and arrogance. Jordan reacted instantly, sidestepping Kyle's attack with ease. Years of practicing evasive maneuvers allowed him to anticipate the trajectory of the punch before it even landed. As Kyle stumbled past him, off balance, Jordan seized the opportunity. With a smooth motion, he grabbed Kyle's arm, twisting it gently but firmly behind his back. Kyle yelped in surprise, struggling to break free, but Jordan held him securely, applying just enough pressure to immobilize him without causing harm. The rest of the gang froze, unsure of what to do next. Their leader, who moments ago had been boasting about teaching the twins a lesson, was now pinned to the ground like a rookie fighter. One of Kyle's friends, emboldened by peer pressure, decided to take matters into his own hands. He charged toward Jada, fists raised, yelling something unintelligible. Jada didn't flinch. Instead, she slipped into a defensive stance, her feet planted firmly apart, her weight evenly distributed. Her movements were fluid, almost graceful, betraying none of the adrenaline coursing through her veins. As the boy swung wildly at her, Jada ducked under his arm, using his momentum against him. With a swift pivot, she delivered a controlled strike to his midsection, not hard enough to cause serious injury, but firm enough to send him stumbling backward, clutching his stomach in pain. Another member of the group attempted to intervene, but Jada anticipated his approach. She spun around, executing a perfect roundhouse kick that stopped mere inches from his chest. The sheer speed and precision of her movement left him wide-eyed and frozen in place. No one else dared to make a move after that. By now, Kyle had managed to wriggle free from Jordan's grasp, though not without considerable effort. He staggered to his feet, panting heavily, his earlier bravado completely shattered. For the first time, genuine fear flickered across his face as he realized the gravity of the situation. These weren't ordinary kids. They were disciplined fighters who could easily overpower him and his friends if they chose to. Kyle glanced around at his gang, hoping for backup, but found only stunned expressions staring back at him. Even his most loyal followers seemed reluctant to step forward, their confidence shaken by the twins' display of skill. Jada and Jordan exchanged a quick glance, silently communicating their next course of action. They had made their point. There was no reason to escalate the confrontation further. Jada stepped forward, her voice steady and commanding. "We didn't want this," she said, addressing the entire group. "You came after us, thinking we'd be easy targets. But guess what? We're not." Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. She paused for a moment, letting them sink in before continuing. "We train in martial arts because it teaches us discipline, respect, and self-control. It's not about fighting. It's about protecting ourselves when we have no other choice." Jordan nodded in agreement, adding, "And trust me, we don't enjoy this. If you'd just leave us alone, none of this would have happened." His tone was calm but firm, leaving no room for argument. Kyle opened his mouth to retort, but no words came out. He looked defeated, humiliated even, as reality dawned on him. The twins weren't just victims. They were warriors, capable of dismantling his entire posse within seconds if provoked further. For a few agonizing moments, nobody spoke. The only sounds were the distant chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves in the breeze. Finally, one of Kyle's friends muttered something under his breath and started backing away, followed by the rest of the group. Kyle lingered for a bit longer, glaring at the twins with a mixture of resentment and disbelief. Eventually, he turned and jogged after his retreating gang, casting one last scathing look over his shoulder before disappearing into the trees. Once the bullies were gone, Jada and Jordan exhaled deeply, allowing themselves a moment to process what had just happened. Their hearts were still pounding, but they felt a sense of relief wash over them. They had stood their ground, defended themselves honorably, and sent a clear message without resorting to unnecessary violence. More importantly, they had stayed true to the values instilled in them by their grandfather: the importance of respect, humility, and using their skills responsibly. As they walked home together, Jada couldn't help but reflect on the irony of the situation. For years, she and Jordan had kept their martial arts abilities private, believing it was better to avoid drawing attention to themselves. Yet here they were, forced to reveal their secret, simply because someone underestimated them based on stereotypes. It was frustrating, yes, but also empowering. They had proven that strength isn't defined by physical prowess alone. It's about having the courage to stand up for yourself and others, even when the odds seem stacked against you. Jordan, too, was lost in thought. He replayed the events in his mind, analyzing each decision they had made during the altercation. Had they acted too aggressively? Could they have handled things differently? Ultimately, he concluded that they had done everything right. They had given Kyle and his gang ample opportunities to back down peacefully, only resorting to self-defense when absolutely necessary. And while the outcome might not have been ideal, after all, no one wins in a fight. It served as a wake-up call for everyone involved. When they arrived home, their parents immediately noticed the change in their demeanor. Concerned, they asked if anything was wrong. After some hesitation, Jada and Jordan recounted the day's events, leaving out no details. To their surprise, their parents listened intently without judgment, offering words of encouragement rather than criticism. "You did what you had to do," their father said proudly. "Sometimes, people won't understand you until you show them who you really are. Today, you showed them, and yourselves, that you're stronger than anyone gives you credit for." Their mother added, "But remember, real strength isn't just about winning a fight. It's about knowing when to walk away too. Be proud of how you handled yourselves, but don't let this define you. You're so much more than this moment." Those words resonated deeply with Jada and Jordan as they prepared for bed that night. Despite the exhaustion weighing down their bodies, they felt a renewed sense of purpose. The revelation of their martial arts skills had been unexpected, but it had also opened doors for meaningful conversations and growth. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for now, they could rest easy knowing they had faced adversity head-on and emerged victorious, not just in battle, but in character. The days following the confrontation in the park were a whirlwind of emotions for Jada and Jordan. Word of what had transpired spread quickly throughout their school, fueled by whispers in hallways, social media posts, and even rumors exaggerated beyond recognition. Some students admired the twins' bravery and skill. Others dismissed the incident as an overreaction or questioned whether they had gone too far. Despite the mixed reactions, one thing was undeniable. The Johnson twins had captured everyone's attention, forcing them to confront uncomfortable truths about racism, bullying, and stereotypes. Jada and Jordan knew that simply ignoring the chatter wasn't enough. They understood that silence often allowed misunderstandings to fester, so they decided to address the situation head-on. With the support of their parents and the school administration, they proposed organizing an assembly to talk openly about what had happened, not to glorify the fight itself, but to use it as a catalyst for meaningful dialogue. The principal agreed, recognizing the potential for growth within the student body if handled thoughtfully. On the day of the assembly, the auditorium buzzed with anticipation. Students filed in eagerly, curious to hear directly from the twins whose story had become the center of heated debates. When Jada and Jordan stepped onto the stage, the room fell silent. Dressed casually yet confidently, they stood side by side, exuding calm authority. As they began speaking, their voices carried both strength and vulnerability, striking a chord with the audience. "We didn't want any part of this," Jada started, her tone measured but sincere. "We came here hoping to focus on our studies, make friends, and build a life in this community. But sometimes, life throws challenges at you that you can't ignore." She paused, scanning the sea of faces before continuing. "What happened in the park wasn't just about us. It was about prejudice, fear, and ignorance. It's about how people treat others who look different or come from different backgrounds." Jordan picked up where his sister left off, his words resonating deeply. "Martial arts taught us discipline, respect, and self-control. It's not about fighting. It's about protecting yourself and standing up for what's right. But we never wanted to fight those boys. We tried to walk away, to resolve things peacefully. Unfortunately, they wouldn't listen." He paused, letting his words sink in. This isn't about revenge or proving a point. It's about understanding why these things happen and how we can prevent them in the future. Their speech struck a nerve, particularly among students who had witnessed or experienced similar forms of discrimination. For many, hearing Jada and Jordan share their perspective humanized the issue in ways classroom discussions never could. It wasn't just theoretical anymore, It was personal, raw, and real. The twins emphasize that while martial arts gave them the tools to defend themselves physically, true strength lay in rising above hatred and choosing empathy over retaliation. After their presentation, the floor opened for questions. Some students expressed admiration for the twins' courage, asking how they managed to stay composed during such a tense situation. Others admitted feeling conflicted, sympathetic toward the twins, but also questioning whether responding with physical force had been the best solution. Jada and Jordan welcomed all viewpoints, acknowledging the complexity of the issue. "To be honest, we struggled with that question ourselves," Jordan confessed. "We didn't want to hurt anyone, but we also couldn't let them bully us without consequence. Sometimes, showing strength is the only way to get someone's attention when words aren't enough." Jada added, "That doesn't mean violence is the answer every time. It's about finding the balance between standing your ground and knowing when to walk away." As the assembly drew to a close, the atmosphere shifted noticeably. Many students approached the twins afterward, thanking them for sharing their story and admitting they had misjudged them initially. Even some teachers admitted they had underestimated the depth of racial bias still present in the school. The assembly sparked important conversations, leading to initiatives aimed at fostering inclusivity and addressing systemic issues within the community. Kyle and his gang, however, remained conspicuously absent from the assembly. Rumors circulated that they were avoiding school altogether, ashamed of their actions and unsure how to face the twins, or anyone else for that matter. Eventually, Kyle mustered the courage to seek out Jada and Jordan after school one afternoon. Standing awkwardly near the bike racks, he called out to them hesitantly, "Hey, can I talk to you guys for a minute?" Jada and Jordan exchanged glances, surprised but willing to hear him out. They nodded, gesturing for him to continue. Kyle shuffled his feet nervously, clearly struggling to find the right words. "Look, I'm sorry," he finally blurted out. "For everything. I don't know why I acted like such a jerk. I guess I was just scared of, I dunno, losing control or something. You guys are way better than me, and I hated that." His apology was clumsy but genuine, and the twins appreciated his effort. Jada softened slightly, her expression less guarded. "It takes guts to admit when you're wrong," she said. "And yeah, what you did was messed up. But if you're really serious about changing, we're willing to give you another chance." Jordan chimed in, adding, "Just remember, actions speak louder than words. Show us you mean it." Kyle nodded earnestly, visibly relieved that they hadn't shut him down completely. Over the following weeks, he made small but noticeable efforts to mend fences. He stopped spreading rumors, apologized to other students he had bullied in the past, and even joined a diversity workshop organized by the school. While rebuilding trust would take time, his willingness to learn and grow earned him cautious acceptance from those he had wronged. For Jada and Jordan, the experience became a turning point, not just in their relationship with their peers, but in their own sense of identity. They realized that while they couldn't control how others perceived them, they could shape the narrative through their actions and words. Their martial arts training had given them physical strength, yes, but more importantly, it had instilled values of resilience, compassion, and leadership. These qualities guided them as they navigated the aftermath of the incident, inspiring others to reflect on their own biases and behaviors. By the end of the semester, the school environment had transformed significantly. Conversations about race, inclusion, and empathy became normalized, thanks in large part to the groundwork laid by Jada and Jordan. Teachers incorporated anti-bias lessons into their curricula, and student-led clubs focused on promoting unity gained traction. Even Kyle, once a symbol of intolerance, emerged as an unlikely advocate for change, using his influence to challenge harmful stereotypes among his peers. Reflecting on the journey, Jada and Jordan felt a profound sense of accomplishment, not because they had defeated their bullies, but because they had turned adversity into opportunity. They proved that true power lies not in domination, but in the ability to inspire others to rise above hate And though the scars of racism and bullying would always linger to some degree, they chose to see them not as wounds, but as reminders of their strength and resilience. As graduation approached, Jada and Jordan stood together on stage during the final assembly, looking out at a sea of familiar faces. They had come a long way since their first day at the school, facing challenges that tested their character and resolve. Yet through it all, they remained steadfast in their belief that kindness, understanding, and courage could overcome even the deepest divides. Their story served as a testament to the transformative power of grace under pressure, and a beacon of hope for anyone striving to create a better, more inclusive world. The culmination of Jada and Jordan's journey arrived with the end of their high school years, a time marked by reflection, celebration, and anticipation for the future. Graduation day was bright and sunny, the kind of weather that seemed to mirror the hopefulness in the air. As they stood side by side on the stage, wearing caps and gowns, Jada and Jordan couldn't help but marvel at how far they had come since their first days at the school. What began as a tumultuous chapter filled with prejudice and conflict had transformed into a story of resilience, unity, and growth, not just for them, but for the entire community. In the months leading up to graduation, Jada and Jordan poured their energy into leaving behind a lasting legacy. Their self-defense club, which started as a small gathering of curious students, had grown into a thriving program embraced by the entire school. The twins designed the curriculum not only to teach martial arts techniques, but also to instill values of discipline, respect, and nonviolence. Each session began with a brief discussion about empathy and leadership, encouraging participants to think critically about how they interacted with others, both inside and outside the dojo. By blending physical training with emotional intelligence, the club became a safe space where students could build confidence, forge friendships, and challenge societal biases. Their efforts extended beyond the confines of the school walls. Inspired by the twins' advocacy, the administration implemented mandatory workshops on diversity and inclusion for all incoming freshmen. These sessions aimed to dismantle stereotypes and foster understanding among students from different backgrounds. Jada and Jordan often volunteered as guest speakers, sharing their experiences and emphasizing the importance of standing up against injustice. Their message resonated deeply, especially with younger students who looked up to them as role models. "You have the power to create change," Jada would tell them during these talks. "It doesn't matter if you're one person, you can still make a difference." As graduation approached, the twins reflected on the ripple effects of their actions. Kyle, once their primary antagonist, had undergone a remarkable transformation. After his initial apology, he committed himself to unlearning the prejudices he had harbored for so long. He joined the diversity workshops, actively participating in discussions, and even mentoring younger students struggling with similar issues. Though rebuilding trust took time, Jada and Jordan acknowledged his progress and welcomed him as an ally rather than an adversary. His journey served as a powerful reminder that people are capable of change when given the opportunity and support to grow. Jordan, ever the optimist, saw Kyle's evolution as proof that forgiveness and second chances could yield extraordinary results. "At first, I wasn't sure if we should give him another shot," Jordan admitted during one of their late-night conversations. "But now, seeing how much he's changed, it makes me believe in the good in people again." Jada nodded in agreement, though her perspective remained more cautious. "It's not about forgetting what happened," she said thoughtfully. "It's about recognizing that everyone deserves a chance to do better and holding them accountable while they try." Beyond their immediate circle, the twins' influence reached unexpected corners of the community. Parents and teachers praised their leadership, crediting them with fostering a culture of acceptance and mutual respect. Local news outlets picked up their story, highlighting their commitment to combating racism and bullying through education and empowerment. The attention brought both pride and pressure, but Jada and Jordan handled it with grace, using their platform to amplify voices that might otherwise go unheard. They collaborated with organizations focused on racial justice and youth empowerment, ensuring that their impact would endure long after they left for college. On graduation day, as they prepared to deliver their farewell speech, Jada and Jordan felt a mix of excitement and nostalgia. Standing before their peers, family members, and educators, they took a moment to soak in the significance of the occasion. 4 years ago, we walked into this school as strangers, Jada began, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. We didn't know what to expect, or how much our lives would change because of the people we met here. She glanced at Jordan, who smiled warmly before continuing. We faced challenges we never imagined, Jordan said, his tone reflective. But those challenges taught us invaluable lessons about strength, courage, and the power of community. We learned that true strength isn't about fighting back. It's about rising above hate and choosing to lead with compassion. And we learned that no matter how tough things get, there's always a way forward if you're willing to work together. Their speech struck a chord with the audience, drawing applause and cheers from their classmates. Many students wiped away tears, moved by the sincerity and wisdom in the twins' words. As they concluded, Jada turned to address their peers directly. "This isn't goodbye," she said firmly. "It's a new beginning, for all of us. Take what you've learned here and carry it with you wherever you go. Be the change you want to see in the world. And remember, no matter where life takes you, you'll always have each other." After the ceremony, Jada and Jordan mingled with friends and family, basking in the joy of the moment. Their parents beamed with pride, hugging them tightly and reminding them of how far they had come. "You've made us so proud," their mother whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Not just because of what you've achieved, but because of the people you've become." Their father added, "Remember, your journey doesn't end here. You've been given incredible gifts. Use them to lift others up." As the sun set on their high school years, Jada and Jordan stood together on the football field, watching the sky turn shades of pink and orange. They talked about their plans for the future. Jada hoped to study psychology and pursue a career in counseling, while Jordan dreamed of becoming a teacher and coach. Both agreed that their paths, though separate, would remain guided by the same principles: empathy, integrity, and a commitment to making the world a better place. Looking back on everything they had experienced, the bullying, the fight in the park, the assembly, the reconciliation, they realized that every challenge had shaped them in profound ways. They emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to use their talents for good. Their martial arts training had equipped them with physical skills, yes, but it had also taught them mental fortitude and the value of perseverance. Most importantly, it had reinforced their belief in the power of standing up for oneself and others, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. As they walked home together under the starlit sky, hand in hand, Jada and Jordan felt a deep sense of gratitude for their family, their friends, and the community that had supported them through thick and thin. They knew that the road ahead wouldn't always be easy, but they faced it with unwavering optimism. Together, they had proven that adversity could be transformed into opportunity, that hate could be met with love, and that courage could inspire lasting change. And so, as they stepped into the next chapter of their lives, Jada and Jordan carried with them not just memories of triumphs and trials, but also a steadfast resolve to continue breaking barriers, challenging stereotypes, and building bridges. Their story was far from over. It was merely the beginning of something greater, a testament to the enduring power of resilience, unity, and hope. Final thought. This story highlights the importance of resilience, unity, and using one's talents for good. It challenges stereotypes and reminds audiences that everyone has the potential to overcome obstacles and make a positive difference in the world.